Hi, Melissa. Okay, I've downloaded the last video and I am putting it on YouTube as we speak. Okay, oops, missed one. For whatever reason, it only took me 7 minutes to download it, but it's taking me 49 minutes to put it on YouTube for whatever reason. So, yeah, you got 45 minutes left. Anyway, time to fold. So let's get the little triangles out of the way first. Okay, what I do is I basically just put the fold against the table and then just fold it along the score line and just go all the way around like that. Perfect. Hard, sharp, beautiful. This is absolutely perfect. That's exactly what you want it to look like. Now you see, because of the way I cut it, nothing on the edges will get in the way of anything. See how it tapers in? That's good because it's gonna be, when it's glued, it's gonna be like that. And the next one, so you don't want any kind of like obstruction in the middle. You don't want a lot of glue. You want it as clean as possible. And what I do to get like excess glue and stuff out of there, when I get like a portion of it made, I will take a tweezer and I will pick out anything I don't like in there. And it's a little bit of work and it's painstaking, but I could do it sloppy and get away with it, but I prefer not to. I like it as nice and clean, and it's just how it is. So, all right, that's one. Let's get the rest of these done. Now, as you can see, I'm not actually putting them on the table because I don't have to. I'm just giving you like examples of what you can do to make it bend easier and truer. If your score isn't very strong, it might give you a little bit of trouble. So you don't want your score to be too strong, but you don't want it to be too light either. You want it to fold over sharply. Just like that. Okay, so let's lot of problem I got when I do stuff, especially like as I've gotten older. I got really fat fingers. I always have. At work, because we worked with electronics, we had to wear anti-static rubber gloves. And they always had to get special ones for me because they just didn't make them to fit me. My boss would even joke with me about it. Let's just say he'd joke about it. About me having fat. He used different language than that, but you can probably guess. At any rate, all my 3s are folded now. They're totally ready. They're the least hardest part of this star to make. You'll notice they were the first I did. The least ones we've talked about so far. They're just straight up triangles. You can also make these with squares, pentagons, hexagons, make a ball out of it rather than a star. I'll show you some of that stuff later. So let's get to folding these points. Now, this point is very important because this tapered line right here, this has to be sharp. So what I always do is do this one first. And what I like to do, I learned this, actually I enhanced it from what I learned how to do stained glass. Doing the foil on the glass, you do a process similar to this. And what I like to do is take a lighter and just go over the edges and make this part good and stiff. I mean, good and sharp. Now, I just open it back up and I can play with the rest of my Now, when this piece gets folded over like this, I will put glue on this flap and I will fold this over like that and clip it. And if I do a really good job, the glue will completely get on this flap and basically make a sort of a see-through. It'll look like that. If I do a good job, it'll look like that. If I don't, it will have air bubbles and stuff like that, and none of that really matters. It bothers me, but it doesn't really matter. And it's not, it doesn't hurt the integrity of the star in any way or make it less strong or anything. I just prefer if everything is perfect. It always isn't, but that's how I prefer it. So this point is ready to be glued. That is what it's supposed to look like when it's ready. So we're humming right along. I also forgot to say, do your top flaps first. Bend them first, and then just bend them back once. I don't know why I forgot to say that. So let's go back and do this. Getting easier talking and talking while I'm doing this and showing you. At first I was like tongue-tied. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. like to stack them like this. Put the flap inside the flap, and they just stay. Looks like we'll probably be gluing tonight. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. Now, remember, the big points were the ones last night that we had to clip the tips on the glue flap side. Well, this is why. Now, if you look, I don't know if you're able to see this, but see how on the inside of this line right here, the flap is cut in such a manner that it does not go past this line. This part used to go like to right here. I had to clip, or wait a minute. It used to be that much across this section. I had to clip that much of it off. It used to be like that. So all this would have been in this part's way. So that's why I had to clip that part off. Now, this one I won't have to because it was already, when I clipped this line right here, it clipped it straight across, keeping clipping the corner off of this on this point alone, on this cut alone, where I did not have the option to do that with this point. So I don't remember what video I was telling you that in, but I remember telling it to you yesterday. So that's why I had to do that part. If I didn't, and I allowed the glue flap to go past that, it would distort the tip of this point, and you don't want that. You want them to be sharp, and plus it would, allow, you just don't want them to be open. And look around on YouTube for people who do this, and you'll see that they don't do their tips. Sometimes they don't do their tips very well. It's not their fault. They just don't know. There's tools, like when you're doing paper, excuse me, and you're doing paper, you can't actually, when you're gluing it with wet glue, you can't actually reach in there and hold it. So you need to use tools like tweezers and stuff. Of course, nobody tells you this stuff when you're learning how to make it. You got to figure all these kind of things out for yourselves. Like for years, I used to take the most narrow pencil I could, and I'd put it up and I'd hold it against the table so that the tip of the point would get glued. Some people, they don't know these kind of things because nobody was there to show it to them. I had to figure it out for myself. So, when I see stuff like that, I'll explain. I'll write them in their comments saying, hey, try using tweezers and stuff like that. It's hard to find people that do this though, and when you do find it, a lot of times they're either from Australia, Germany, Russia, sometimes from Japan, but Japan tends to have more people that do origami. There used to, I'm not sure if he's still alive yet anymore, but there was a brilliant, brilliant mathematician out of Minnesota or Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere. His name is Wenninger, and he does fantastic work. But his trip is about math. His whole thing about it is doing geometry, and he's absolutely brilliant. I wrote him once. He actually wrote me back. I was seeing the hundreds and hundreds of creations he made, and they were just brilliant. It was awe-inspiring. And of course, when I see other people's work whose work is much better than mine, I get all inspired and